She built a playground on my private lot without asking, and made me the villain when I complained. So I stopped talking, filed the permits, and turned her little kingdom into a locked parking zone. Now the swings are gone, the kids are furious, and Karen? She's finally silent. It started on a Saturday morning. I was enjoying my coffee when I heard an unusual amount of noise outside, laughing, screaming, and the distinct thud of feet hitting plastic. I walked out onto my porch and froze. My backyard, my private lot, had somehow transformed into a full-blown children's playground overnight. Swings, a slide, a sandbox, and even one of those colorful jungle gyms. And swarming around it were at least a dozen kids from the neighborhood, completely oblivious to the fact that they were playing on someone else's land. At first, I thought it had to be some kind of mistake. Maybe the HOA gave approval for a community build and got the location wrong? But a few minutes later, I saw her. Karen, the self-declared community coordinator, standing proudly with a clipboard in hand, chatting with a few other parents like this was her big event. When I approached her, still confused, all she said was, "It was unused land. We made it useful." My blood boiled. She hadn't even bothered to ask. No warning. No permission. And worst of all, she acted like she was doing me a favor. That's when I knew, this wasn't over. When I confronted her about the playground being on my lot, Karen didn't apologize. Instead, she doubled down with that smug grin of hers and said, "Technically, you weren't using it. The kids needed a place to play." I reminded her that it was private property, but she waved her hand like that detail didn't matter. "We took a vote in the Facebook group," she added. "Everyone agreed it was the best spot. Except I wasn't in that Facebook group. No one contacted me, no one asked for my opinion, and certainly no one had my permission." Apparently, Karen had spun a narrative that I had abandoned the space and that the HOA was planning to beautify the area. Beautify? With plastic slides and trash already piling up? I tried to reason with her one last time, suggesting she move the equipment to the actual park just 2 blocks away. Her response? "If you want it gone, you move it." That was the moment it shifted from irritating to personal. This wasn't about kids needing a place to play. This was Karen marking territory. So I made a decision right then: if she wanted a fight over land, she was going to get one. I gave Karen more chances than she deserved. I sent her an official notice, politely asking her to remove the playground within a week. She ignored it. Then I attended the next HOA meeting, brought maps, property records, proof that the land was mine. She didn't even look up from her phone. "The neighborhood supports it," she said flatly. "You're just being difficult." Worse, some of the parents started siding with her. I became the bad guy, the Grinch who didn't want kids to have fun. One dad even said, "It's just a few toys. Why do you care so much?" But it wasn't just about toys. It was about someone deciding they had the right to take what wasn't theirs, and getting applauded for it. A few nights later, I came home to find chalk drawings all over my driveway and juice boxes thrown in my bushes. Whether it was the kids or the parents, the message was clear: they thought they'd won. Karen had turned my own property into a circus and made me the villain. I realized then, talking wasn't going to solve this. I needed to hit back in a way they wouldn't see coming, and wouldn't forget. The next morning, I made a few calls. Not to a lawyer, not yet, but to a contractor and the city zoning office. Turns out, since the land was legally mine and already zoned for personal functional use, I didn't need anyone's permission to make a few improvements. Within a week, the permits were in place. Another week later, trucks rolled in. Big ones. Loud ones. With gravel, asphalt, and steel signs. Karen came running down the street in a panic when she saw the workers dismantling the jungle gym. "What are you doing?" she shrieked. I didn't even look at her. I pointed to the construction notice posted on the fence: private parking area, authorized vehicles only. By sundown, the playground was gone. In its place? A freshly paved, perfectly lined private parking zone with a keypad entry gate and 2 reserved signs, both in my name. And to top it all off, I installed security cameras and motion-activated lights that lit up like a stadium every time someone came near. Karen tried to rally the neighborhood again, but now they looked exhausted. And a few even nodded in approval. My message was loud and clear: you build on my land? I build over yours. The fallout came fast, and it was delicious. Karen called an emergency HOA meeting the next day, demanding I restore the playground immediately and accusing me of being hostile toward families. But this time, things didn't go her way. I came armed, with paperwork, city approvals, video footage of kids trespassing, and printed copies of every ignored warning I'd sent. I dropped them all on the table and calmly said, "This is what happens when someone disrespects boundaries." Some of the parents, now realizing Karen had built the playground without proper permissions, turned on her. One mother even muttered, "Why didn't you just ask him first?" Karen's face went red, but she said nothing. The HOA board, stuck in damage control, couldn't punish me, because legally, I hadn't done anything wrong. Ironically, some of the same people who called me a Grinch were now asking if they could rent one of my new parking spots. I smiled politely and said they were under review. As for Karen? She's been quiet ever since. No more pop-up projects, no more clipboard strolls. The message was clear: mess with my land, and you'll lose more than just your playground. You'll lose your power, and your parking.